this week, this every week you guys talk about the 1-0 mentality, but the fact that this is your last home game, does this take on added significance to you personally, and how important is it to win this week?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like you said, it's 1-0, but it's, really important, especially being, last home game for all the seniors, the guys that have been here for 4 and 5 years, and just looking forward to going into Beaver Stadium one more time. No matter what the atmosphere is, what senior day is, but I'm excited for it, just go out and, play one more time in that stadium.
Tobias Wilborn.
Was last week the most you guys have felt like Penn State since this season has gone? If so, why?
It's definitely good to get a win, and that, that feels like Penn State, but, there's a process we go in, each week that, it's worked, in the past, week in and week out, our practice schedule and things like that. So, I mean, I would say it's never not felt like Penn State, but like getting a win obviously feels good. We want to continue that momentum going into Michigan State.
Arthur Paye.
Hey, Will, appreciate the time. Obviously, throughout your time at Penn State, there's been times where you probably felt like on top of the world. Y'all won 11 games last year, won the Cotton Bowl. When you kind of reflect back on this season, the challenges that have come with that, whether it be with the pandemic or starting 0-5, how have you kind of, for lack of better terms, dealt with the fact that this is the reality of your senior season, if that makes sense, your final ride at Penn State?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just kind of goes beyond football to that point. These are, you go through adversity, the way we started the season, and, that's stuff you're going to go through your whole life. You're going to face adversity your whole life, whether you don't, get a job or things like that. So I think, obviously it's not something we wanted to, have happen in any capacity, but there's things you can learn from to build off of and, kind of, have lessons that you can teach your kids one day. And I think that's, kind of what I took out of this season.
Peter Terpstra.
Hey, Will, this thing's always hard to answer, but I want you to do your best. I want you to look back at your time at Penn State, maybe pick out a top memory or two. And do you have any stories you'd like to share with us that kind of stick out as, your favorite parts of your time here?
I think I kind of look back to when I was real young in the program, freshman, redshirt freshman, and I was able to watch, those guys in front of me, guys like Andrew Nelson, Brendan Mann, Brian Gaia, and, the lessons I took from them, taught me, they taught me a lot about how to be a Penn State football player. I just remember that Iowa game when I was a redshirt freshman, and, I had to step in and, play a role in that game. And, I had all the support in the world from Andrew Nelson. He helped me out so much preparing for that game and stuff like that. So I think those are some of the things that really stick out to me is kind of the relationships I built with those guys and, how they helped me, help me excel in my career.
Kenny Schreiler.
Hey, Will. You hear me now? All right, cool.
Yeah.
Obviously the Land Grant Trophy is something that's talked about online a lot and the looks of it, but what would it mean for you? What are your thoughts on the looks of it and what it means to you and the team to keep it in your locker room this year?
Yeah, it's a fantastic trophy, and I would love to keep it in our locker room. I would love to get a picture with it with the guys, after the game, and obviously got to go 1-0 first, win the game to retain the trophy. But looking forward to that opportunity.
Jay Stroh.
Hey, Will, how are you today?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Hey, last week Michigan State had 9 tackles for loss and pretty active up front. What do you see from those guys in terms of being disruptive, et cetera?
Kind of in typical Michigan State fashion, they're an aggressive, play really hard front 7 group, and it's gonna be a big challenge for our offensive line this week. We have to be able to get movement off the ball. We have to be able to play physical. So I mean, it's going to be a physical game at the end of the day, and we have to play with the max effort, max details, and do everything we can to find ourselves in the right column at the end of the game.
Elton Hayes.
Hey, Will, thanks for your time this morning. Obviously with senior day being recognized this Saturday, some of you guys will, I assume, are coming back. Some of you all will, head for your future. This is a senior class that's kind of seen the highs and lows of the lows, from winning the Big Ten championship in 2016 to dealing with this global pandemic and everything that it entails. we spoke with Shane earlier, and he was just kind of talking about how much this group meant to him. I wanted to ask you the same question. Going through this with these group of guys who you've come to know over the past, 4 years, after seeing everything that you guys have battled through and been through, what kind of best describes this senior group, if you can kind of try to put that into words?
Kind of like I think Shane said, we're a really tight group. I think we're really, gritty group. Just, the few of us that are left, the 7 of us or whatever it is from the, 2016 class, we're really tight. We've been through a lot, from, being all on the same floor and, freshman year. And, we've all had a bond ever since. And, it's awesome to, go through all the experience with those guys. They're some of my closest friends. And I would just say we're just a gritty group.
Rich Garcella.
Will, I'd like to ask about one of those guys specifically. You and Mike Mennett have been linked together from the beginning. I know you roomed together. And what have you learned from each other? And what is your favorite memory of time together with him?
Yeah, kind of like you said, we've been roommates for 5 years, and he's, one of my best friends. He's taught me, a lot about, leadership. Obviously he's a captain. I learned a lot from him in that way. We always just bounce ideas off of each other. Now that I'm playing, next to him more, we talk about, watch film together like a ton, and kind of just bounce those ideas off each other. As far as a favorite memory, I think just back in those, freshman year days when we were both kind of going through the grind of, being a redshirt and being sort of uncertain what the future held, kind of going through those winter workouts in the morning and, just that cold experience. And, we made it through it together. And, it's really special to have him as a friend, go through that whole experience. And, we can share those memories for a long time.
Mark Wogan-Rich.
Will, beyond masking and testing and those sorts of things, what are some of the things you had to go through this season that people don't know about just to have a season? And has it all been worth it?
I think it's the sacrifice that first off, it's definitely worth it, to have a season and to be able to play, with these guys for another year, no matter how many games it was or whatever, it was definitely worth it. But, as far as the sacrifice that everyone on the team had to make to, Saturday after a game, you have to stay in and, be close to your teammates that, are not infectious and not seeing, family, things like that. That's been the toughest thing is, I don't think a lot of people don't realize is you can't enjoy a normal life. Like you can, no one really can obviously, but, it makes it tough being away from your family and knowing they're at the games and you can't see them for, how many home games there are. So, that's probably been the toughest thing and the biggest sacrifice for our team as a whole.
Arthur Paye.
Will, with the NCAA allowing guys to come back next year, have you kind of considered your future and where does that stand right now with you?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's just focused on the game, and that'll be a discussion for, later time whenever, the season comes to a close.
Rich Garcella.
Will, why do you think you guys have managed to stick together? Sean referenced this earlier. At a lot of other schools, guys are opting out when their teams fell out of contention for conference titles and so on. Why do you think you guys have stuck together? And secondly, have you given it much thought about what that environment will be like on Saturday? The fact that I'm sure you thought about senior day before, but that there'll be no fans in the stands. How weird will that be?
Yeah, so I think that the first part of that question is that I think our team does a good job of realizing that it's bigger than yourself. This program has, been through so much, and that, we have, assistants like Ty Howell who, helped keep this program together in 2012 when, everything was going downhill. And I think that our classes, kind of realize it's not just about us. It's about, the guys before us, the guys that are coming after us. So it's on us, stick together, get the ship going back in the right direction, continue to fight for this program. I think to me, that's really important. It's just continuing to fight and do everything we can to, finish with the best record possible. And to this, what was the second part of the question?
The second part of the question is, I know I know you've seen senior days before
Oh yeah.
and how, special it is with the fans and the pregame introductions. Have you given it much thought about what this Saturday will be like? I mean, obviously you've played 3 games in the stadium, but how weird that's going to be, your last home game, and it's just going to be a handful of people.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be weird. I mean, just like everything else has been this season, but obviously it's whatever it is. It's going to be fine. I'm sure they'll do a great job with whatever we can do. Not worried about that, but just going out there one more time, enjoying it with the whole team, especially our senior class, is going to be something special.